Good morning, good morning. So, one major thing that I have to pay attention to with these plants, because I'm relatively new to keeping houseplants. I've been dealing with houseplants for a long time for people, but never for myself. So, this is a relatively new experience for me. But what I'm paying attention to is the humidity. The temperature is pretty fine. It can take up to like 70, maybe even a little lower. But the humidity, Colorado's humidity is horrible, you guys. So that's why I got these trays. Excuse the little packs. My kids be just throwing their little packs everywhere. But my trays. So what I typically do is I'll fill these trays with some pebbles. So these clay pebbles, and that'll lift the pot. So the pot will be, or the excuse me, the pot will be sitting on top of the pebbles in the tray. You'll fill the tray just above the pebble line. So wherever the pebbles stop, you'll fill it up to that line. And what happens is that water naturally evaporates up into the pot. The soil does pull what water it can pull, and it holds on to it, but mostly that water evaporates into more warmer climates, more warmer conditions for the root system. So that's the purpose of doing that, and that raises the humidity. Even just being around the plants, you can see humidity went up a couple of degrees, since I've been around them. When I leave, it'll go back down to 28. So it's just really keeping an eye on that. Typically, you would want your humidity definitely at least over 50%. In the wintertime, you want it as high as possible because our humidity on a regular is below 20%. So, I mean, you get in places like Florida, North Carolina, South Carolina, their humidity, California even, their humidity is far greater than ours. They're looking at 90, almost 100% humidity in some cases. So out here, you really want to maintain a good humidity environment for your plants. Now, I got these fig trees that I have been propagating for a while, and they're starting to shoot out new leaves. But definitely, even my little tray that I got down here, I just watered it a little while ago, like a couple days ago, 3 days ago actually, and it's already bone dry. I gotta water again. So, hey, when you have plants up here, they're gonna definitely suck up water. These still got a little water in them. I can feel them. They're still kind of heavy, a little bit, but you got a lot of different little obstacles you have to overcome. And finding a plant that's low maintenance is key to starting your plant collection. Like these dumb canes are very, very low maintenance. I watered these like maybe last week sometime. I haven't really bothered them since. And I mean, they hold their water content very well, just like these mother's tongue and snake plant. They hold their water content very well. Pothos holds its water content very well. Like I could go a few days past their watering day and they'll be just fine. Like I haven't watered these since last week. They're still heavy. I can't pick them up with one hand. So that lets me know they're fine. Leave them alone. Let them do their thing. Now, when the pot gets to the point where I can, like this one's a little lighter, but this plant is much smaller and has a lot less soil in it, but it still has weight to it. If you can lift it with one hand, you need to start looking at it to see if you need water. Like these are relatively large pots. They're 11 inches by 11 inches and 12 inches deep. So these are pretty big pots. So for me not to have to water them, and I mean, they got nice sized plants in them. So the roots are expanding, doing what they need to do. I'm just going to let them be. That's the biggest thing you could do with house plants, you guys. When you water them real good, let them be. I mean, even though this looks dry on the top, scratch down below the surface and you see it starts getting a darker color. I didn't even scratch down 2 inches yet. So I know that this plant is well watered. I mean, so you could either do the lifting of the pot test or you could just scratch the surface to see how your soil's looking. Like my crotons, I've been learning a lot. So I had them against the wall on this plant stand. And you can see they get very good light. This one's starting to stretch out towards the light, which my window is caddy corner almost from where it's at. So it's receiving good light. But I was getting this deformation in my leaves. So what I did was experimented with this one and took it away from the wall. And let me move this bowl. That's getting on my nerves. I'm starting to get normal leaves again. And this one's a little more shaded. I'm actually do a light meter test to see how much, because I'm betting that this one's getting more light than this one, but this one's getting perfect amount of light. So I need to find a way to get this one closer to this one, but you can see I have a table full, and this is a big old stone table full of plants that I need to get off of here and get sold or just get out of here. You know what I'm saying? My avocado tree back there, it needs more light, so I'm gonna probably take it back downstairs under my grow lights. But just little things, and I'm when I do my light meter test for these plants, I'll definitely post a video on it, just explaining what I'm doing and what different spectrums I'm getting from these different areas. I mean, they're literally just right across from each other, so it's kind of cool. These were just stems, you guys. They didn't have no leaves on them. Like this one that got the leaves, these are all new leaves. It didn't have no leaves on it at all. It was just one stem. And these have been in here about 2 months, 2.5 months going on. And I'm finally getting a leaf coming out of this one. And I got a few out of this one already. And this one's about to sprout out. And that's all I'll be looking for is those leaves. Once them leaves start sprouting out, I mean, it's in good hands. Like Allstate. Real talk. So, I mean, these leaves are getting huge. This is how you could tell how big the propagation cutting, how big the mother plant was. When I propagated these things, none of these leaves were, I mean, there were a couple that were nice size, but none of them were this size. Like I got a new little leaf about to sprout out here, so that's gonna sprout out, make it about this tall, this much taller, sprout out that way. But look at the size of these leaves. This is just amazing to me. Like, I absolutely love this. This has been very, very dope.